Hello and welcome. Thank you all for finding time and attending today's webinar. We have people joining from UK, Germany, Bulgaria, and India. Hope you can see and hear me well. I'm Sandeep Mathur. I'm a client relationship manager at PSI. We are a 20 plus years experienced global offshore IT solutions provider, having operations with offices and customers in the US, Canada, UK, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, and India. As you already aware about today's topic, cloud migrations demystified, and our today's speaker, Mr. Ashu Sharma. He's a practice head digital transformation services at PSI. He's an industry expert with experience of over 15 years. He's a certified cloud expert. You can see his profile and credentials right on your screen. Before we start, let me explain you how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, just keep floating your questions in the question box. Our AVP Engineering, Puneet, will join us for this session and help you pass your queries to our speaker. Thank you. Over to you, Ashu.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. I'll be speaking today about various aspects and best practices of cloud migration. So, objective of this webinar is to give you an holistic overview about the strategies and a migration roadmap that an organization should follow for a successful cloud adoption. So, from my point of view, at the end of this webinar, I would like you to understand how to utilize the cloud, how to get to the cloud, and how to adopt the cloud. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to adopting a method to get there. And that's what we are going to discuss today. So here is the agenda for today's webinar. We'll be first discussing about why organizations wants to move towards the cloud. And during this journey, what all are key concerns or fears they have before they start their cloud migration journey. So what are the key business drivers that force organizations to start their journey towards the cloud? And there will be key considerations that organization needs to think through before they embark onto this journey. We have created a migration roadmap, which is very important for any organization for their successful cloud migration journey. Then I'll be touch base upon some governance aspect, which is very important for any organization throughout their cloud migration journey. So now, first question is why organization wants to move towards the cloud. So what is it that drives organizations to move towards the cloud? So I understand that most of the companies are running their infrastructure and data centers of some kind for so many years now, but suddenly they all are talking about cloud. So why suddenly cloud is becoming so important? So many of the case, it happens like your top management or your CEO reads an article in a journal. For example, your CEO reads an article in a Wall Street Journal that says that cloud migration is a new normal now, and everybody is moving towards the cloud. So our organization should also move towards the cloud. So would that be a valid business reason? So according to me, it's not a very valid business reasons for any organization to migrate towards the cloud. Across all industries, discussion of migration to cloud services have become a commonplace now. And it is one of the first considerations when discussing IT cost reduction. So yes, the cost is an important factor when organizations choose to migrate their entire IT infrastructure and workload towards the cloud. And I'll give you a reason why it is becoming so important to understand your cost. So I'll give you three examples. One of them is, according to Business Insider, businesses waste approximately 62 billion US dollars in unused data center capacity every year. So you can imagine that much amount of money organizations are spending just for the unused data center capacities they have. So wherein they can actually utilize this cost for their other business initiatives. And while they save this cost, they can get other business competitive advantages due to this cost, right? So if you are migrating towards the cloud just to save this cost, then cloud migration is a smart move for your organization. And the second example, according to Deloitte, businesses and professional services companies spend 62% of their annual IT budget on internal maintenance. So you can imagine that a huge amount of organizations' annual IT budget goes just to support that operational activities and just to keep the lights on, right? So if migrating towards the cloud can save organization this much amount of cost, then cloud migration is the right move for the organizations. And the third example for cost saving is if organizations want to, trade their capital investment to their operational investment, then it is the right move for the organization. For example, if your organizations are foreseeing any major hardware refresh in the near future, where they have to invest a lot of money as a capital investment to add the asset and all IT infrastructure to their data centers, but they can do a trade-off. And once they migrate towards the cloud, they only need to pay for the services they are actually going to utilize from the cloud and the capacity which they are actually going to utilize. So that way they can actually turn their capital investment to their operational expenses. Right. So cost reduction is one of the consideration when migrating towards the cloud. However, that cost is not the only factor driving cloud migration, because it can help businesses to reap benefits in terms of flexibility, scalability, have a better collaboration among the team, have a faster deployment, have a better security mechanism in place, and establish a better operational resiliency and operational efficiency. And cloud migration is also considered as the key enabler of business transformation in terms of customer engagements, new partnerships, and drive competitive advantages. They can ensure the compliance throughout their journey. So cloud migration presents an opportunity to transform the way an organization does the business. It can help organizations to lower the cost, become more agile, develop new skills, and take their products and new features to the market pretty quickly, deliver reliable and globally available services to the market. So this is the main reason organization need to, think for migrating their IT infrastructure and workloads towards the cloud. But as I said, there will be a few key concerns before any organization can start their cloud migration journey. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard about a game called Pitfall. So idea of this game was to run through a jungle without getting trapped into the pits that you encounter during your journey towards the destination. So I can correlate that cloud migration journey with a game where you have a few challenges during your cloud migration journey. And the idea is you should not get trapped within those challenges or those fears. And with the right strategy and planning, you can actually overcome those challenges and have a successful cloud adoption. So there was a survey conducted by Forbes, and it comes out that 66% of IT professionals think that security will be at the risk when they migrate their entire IT workload and infrastructure to a third-party vendor. So they will not be able to meet their security compliances. They will not be able to, protect their data when they migrate towards the cloud, right? When 60% of people thinks that they will not be able to meet their compliance and regulations within certain specific industries. For example, if you're working with healthcare industries, you need to follow the HIPAA compliance if you are running your business in the US geographical region. At the same time, if you are working with a payment card industry, you need to follow and comply with PCI DSS compliances. And if you're working in the EU region, then there are strict GDPR rules that you need to follow, and you have to, make sure that you follow all the compliances. So then people are, really concerned about how they are going to meet their compliances and security. So another fear is that 58% of organizations think that they do not have right people and they do not have a right skill within their organization who can support and execute their cloud migration journey. As I said, 57% people think that data privacy is their main concerns. They do not want to host their data in a third-party location where they do not have control. Vendor lock-in is another aspect where organizations and people in the organization think that if they migrate their entire workload to one cloud vendor, they'll not be able to migrate that to another cloud vendor. They are not able to estimate and analysis, do the analysis for the cost, right? So that is another fear factor for organizations. They do not have a visibility over their IT infrastructure. They do not understand that how unplanned outages will be taken care. So these all are the few concerns organization have before they start their cloud migration journey. But as I said, there are you should not get trapped into these fears and concerns, because with the right strategy, right planning, and with the right partner, you can easily overcome these challenges and reap out the maximum benefits of your business outcomes. So I'll be discussing about key business drivers which are important for an organization to understand. So what all key business drivers and the motivational factors they do have when they achieve their cloud migration journey. So scalability, operational costs, business agility, cost avoidance, operational resilience, and the workforce productivities. They are the few key business drivers which actually encourages organization to migrate their entire workforce to the cloud. So what do you mean by scalability? So scalability is the ability to rapidly scale your IT infrastructure, performance requirements, and growing data need according to the changing requirements. And it is extremely attractive to the large and small organization alike. You know. So for example, if you're running an online shopping application and you are not sure about the user load, so we experience this, when there is a any occasion like a Black Friday sale or a Christmas sale or a Diwali sale. So you see a huge spike in the user load, and if your IT infrastructure is not able to handle that load, your business might get affected. So while moving to cloud and with the auto scaling feature of the clouds, you can actually handle that load, very easily. So you can scale up and scale down your IT infrastructure or IT resources as per the user load, right? So scalability gives organization a boost, and it will shield your organization and your application for any disruptive events. When it comes to operational costs are the cost of running your infrastructure. Eliminating the need of hardware refresh and maintenance program is a key contributor to the operational cost reduction. So as I mentioned earlier, IT organizations spend a huge amount of their annual IT budget for supporting all the operational activities, which actually invest in their operational infrastructure maintenances. Operational and maintenance team need not to invest their time in infrastructure maintenance activities like server maintenance, OS patching, security patching. So you can leave all these burdens to cloud vendors, and you can save a lot of cost while migrating your workload to cloud. Business agility is another key business driver for an organization. So because business agility is the ability to react quickly to the changing market conditions. Migrating to the cloud helps increase your overall operational agility. So you can expand into new market, take products to market quickly, and acquire assets that offer a competitive advantage. So you can spin up your environments pretty quickly. You can deploy your workload pretty quickly. You can test your workload in hours and not in days. You can play, learn, and as soon as you are done, you do not own the infrastructure you use to learn the new technologies. So you can respond the business demands pretty quickly. So this is another motivational factor for organizations to look for the cloud adoption. In terms of cost avoidance is setting up an environment that does not create unnecessary cost. So as I mentioned earlier as well, organizations spend 62 USD 62 billion USD dollars for just unused capacity of their infrastructure and data centers. So you can actually avoid that cost. So consumption-based model can help you to reduce the operational cost significantly. You pay only for the services you are using, as opposed to the on-premise infrastructure, where you have to pay for the unused capacity of the entire IT infrastructure, right? So cost avoidance is a key factor for an organization to think and start their cloud migration journey. The next factor is operational resilience. So operational resilience is reducing your organization's risk profile and the cost of risk mitigation. This includes both the resilience of systems and processes, and more generally, the ability of the organization to continue to operate its business in the event of disruptive events. So organizations are pretty concerned about for their business continuity plan. So when there is a disruptive events, there all the systems can come to an halt. So if they do not have a fault tolerant mechanism in place, they are in a big problem. So having different regions, and within each region you have multiple availability zones, so where you can set up your disaster recovery setup, and virtual data center. So in case of any disruptive events, you can actually spin up your disaster recovery setup within no time, and you can ensure your business continuity is remain intact, and you will have a better fault tolerant system. In terms of workforce productivity, workforce productivity is how efficiently you are able to get your services to the market. You can quickly provision your services, which increases your productivity by letting you focus on the things that are important. So by utilizing all the automation tools that cloud providers provide, you can have build automation tools, configuration management tool, and monitoring tools that can increase your workforce productivity by many folds. So these are the business drivers that organization need to understand and reap all the benefits by migrating their entire IT workload and IT infrastructures towards the cloud. So having said that, when organization start their cloud migration journey, before they embark onto this journey, they need to have a few considerations before they start their journey. So they need to keep in mind that how do they build the right business case? How do they accurately assess their environment? How do they create a migration plan? How do they identify and evaluate the right partners to help them in achieving their business objective? How do they estimate the cost of a large transitions like this? How long will the migration process will take to complete? They need to estimate that as well. So what are the right tools they need to consider for their complete migration strategies? How will they handle their legacy applications, which requires a lot of change, a lot of re-architecting when they migrate towards the cloud? And at the end, how do they accelerate the migration effort to realize the business and technology benefits? So these are the key considerations that organizations need to consider before they embark onto their cloud migration journey. And we have created a migration roadmap which actually take care of all these considerations and answers all these questions that organization do have in their mind before they start their cloud migration journey. So here's the migration roadmap an organization should follow for a successful cloud adoption. So first of all, they need to assess their migration readiness in various aspects of their business functional units, in terms of their technical departments, in terms of their people skills and whatnot. And then they need to have a strong business case that will support their business objective for migrating towards the cloud. And as you know, no initiatives can be completed without a team. So you need to have a group of members who can actually support your cloud migration journey and actually execute that. So creating a cloud center of excellence is another important step during your cloud migration journey. So once you have identified the team of people who will be responsible for your cloud migration, then you need to identify your migration strategies. So what all workload you need to migrate, how you want to migrate those workload, where you will be migrating entire your IT infrastructure and application workload. Then it comes to planning. You need to prioritize all the application and components. You need to establish performance baselines for all your applications against which you will be measuring your cloud outcomes. Then actually you execute your cloud migration. So we have categorized cloud migration or migration execution step into 6 categories. First, you need to discover, then design, then build, then integrate, then you need to do a validation, and then you need to do a rollout. And entire this cloud migration journey, you need to have a governance body in place. So you need to have a right processes and policies which can actually support your cloud migration journey. So we'll be discussing about each of these steps in details. So what do you mean by assessing the migration readiness? So when your organization starts to think about a cloud migration, and a cloud adoption, it is just not only the technological shift; it is a mindset that needs to be changed across the organization, because culture is critical to the cloud migration. Cloud adoption can fail to reach its maximum potential if companies do not consider the impact to its culture, people, and processes in addition to technology. So cloud adoption requires the fundamental changes are discussed, considered, and assessed across the entire organization and across all organizational units. So we have summed up, there are 6 key focus areas of an organization that must be evaluated and assessed for the change. So out of these, 3 are functional areas where businesses need to pay attention and assess them from the business aspects. And there are 3 technical areas where organization need to assess their technical ability and capacity. So if they are ready for a cloud migration or not. So when it comes to business perspective is focused on ensuring that IT is aligned with business needs and that IT investments can be traced to a demonstrable business results. So how do you do that? You need to engage stakeholders within the business perspective to create a strong business case for cloud adoption. You need to prioritize cloud adoption initiatives and you need to ensure that there is a strong alignment between your organization's business strategy and goals versus IT strategies and goals. For example, you need to define new IT strategies which will be focusing on organization's capacity to leverage IT as a business enabler. When it comes to finance, you need to have a finance strategies, financial strategies, which will be addressing organizations' capacity to plan, allocate, and manage the budget for IT expenses. They need to understand the total cost of ownership for this transition. You need to understand the return on investment which you are doing in the cloud migration. So measuring the value of technology investment becomes more meaningful when these investment can be directly linked to usage and business outcomes. So having prepare yourself what all business processes or financial strategies you have right now and what it would require to migrate those processes and policies when you migrate your IT workload and infrastructure to cloud, what all changes you'll need to do, right? So this is an important area where organization need to assess them well before they start their journey. The second important aspect is people. The people perspective covers the assessment of organizational staff capability and change management functions that are required for efficient cloud adoption. So here you need to engage stakeholders to evaluate organizational structure and rules. You need to assess the new skills and process requirements. You need to identify the gaps. Performing an analysis of needs and gaps helps you to prioritize training, staffing, and organizational changes so that you can build an agile organization that is ready for an effective cloud adoption. So your human resource management, your finance management, your all the business stakeholders need to work closely to identify the gaps, identify the right skills, identify the gaps where did they see a gap. So by providing right staffing methodologies, right skilling, upskilling programs, having provided the trainings, you can actually fill those gaps. When it comes to governance, it is a very important aspect for an organization to look through. So the governance perspective generally focuses on the skills and processes that are needed to align IT strategies and goals within your organization's business strategies and goals. You need to ensure your organizations maximize the business value of their IT investment and minimizes the business risk. They need to well mitigate all the business risks they can identify. And this perspective includes all your program management and project management capabilities as well, because that will support your governance processes for cloud adoption and ongoing operations. So these are the three key business functional areas where organization need to assess them, in a very effective manner, so that they can actually identify the gaps, fill in those gaps, and execute their cloud migration journey in a more meaningful or more efficient way. When it comes to technology, there are three key aspects, and one of them is platform. So with information derived using this perspective, you can describe the architecture of the target state environment in detail. So the platform perspective includes principle and patterns for implementing new solution on the cloud. So you need to assess what your current platforms are, what all platforms you are utilizing for running your application workloads, and where you want to go in cloud, how they will be operated, how you will make changes in the processes and policies to keep equilibrium between your IT infrastructure workload versus your application workload. So this is a very important aspect that organization need to assess in terms of their platform requirements. When it comes to security, the security perspective helps you to structure the selection and implementation of security controls that meet your organization's need. So you need to assess your current security measurements, right? Your current security policies, your current security and compliances, what you have currently in your current data centers, and when you will migrate towards the cloud, what all changes you need to do. So choosing the right identity and access management, detective controls, right user access management, and incident reportings and error detection mechanism, you can actually ensure that your compliance and security requirements are remain intact when you migrate your workload to cloud, and you do not breach any of your compliance and security SLAs with your end partners or end customers. Right. So then the next one is operations. So operations perspective describes the focus areas use, operate, and recover IT workloads to the level that is agreed upon within your business stakeholders. So information gained through the operations perspective defines your current operating procedures, your current SOPs, and identifies process changes and training needs to implement a successful cloud adoption. Right. So focusing on these key areas, organizations can learn how to align their cloud strategies and goals to their business strategies and goals. So it will help organizations to identify the gaps in their current organizational capabilities and devise a work stream to close these gaps. So having assessed your entire migration readiness for your organization, the next important thing is you need to have a valid business case that will support all your business outcomes and support your business values you will derive from this cloud migration. Right. So building a clear and compelling migration business case can provide your organization's leadership with a data-driven rationale to support the initiative. A migration business case can have four categories. I mean, you can divide your business case and you can look through your business cases through four lenses. First of all, you need to run a cost analysis. Then you need to estimate the cost of change for this entire transformation. Then you need to estimate what all productivity gains you will get once you migrate your entire workload to the cloud. Then you need to understand what all business values you will get once you migrate your entire workload to cloud. So you need to ask few questions before you start, building a valid business case. What is the future expected IT cost on cloud versus the existing cost? What are the estimated migration investment costs? What is the expected ROI? What are the business benefits beyond the cost saving? How cloud adoption will improve ability to respond to business change? So how your organization can become more agile to respond to the market demands? So when it comes to cost analysis, you need to run a cost analysis, and there are various tools available with different cloud vendors where you can actually run cost analysis and estimate your total cost of ownership for your migration. So you need to assess the impact of various pricing options cloud providers do have. If we talk about AWS, they have various pricing options in terms of on-spot pricing, on-demand pricing, and a reserve instance pricing. So according to your business needs, you need to identify what all pricing options are available within your cloud providers and where you can get the maximum benefits. You need to see the impact of discounts which cloud providers offer for a large, small, and medium enterprise, accordingly. So you need to consider the enterprise discounts as well. They provide you various service credits which you can utilize to upskill your people in terms of training and certifications. So having done a cost analysis, then your finance team need to estimate at budget your cost of this migration. So it's not only the cost of technology shift. It should also be a consulting cost that will be involved. Costs that are involved in migration planning, all the compelling events like how your server refresh would be done, how your operational activities will be taken care, what is your application migration cost. So having estimated that cost of change, then you need to estimate what all productivity gains you get in terms of your workforce productivity. So you need to estimate the reduction in number of hours spent conducting legacy operational activities, for example, requisitioning, racking and patching, procuring your IT infrastructure. Productivity gains you get from automation that cloud providers provide, having automated migration tools, having continuous integration, continuous deployment model. You can actually increase your developer productivities as well. So once you have analyzed all these changes, finally you derive all your business values. So how much your business will get agility in terms of faster time to deployment, flexibility to scale up and scale down your IT infrastructure and resources as per the needs, mergers and acquisitions, how soon you can take your products or your application to the market and across the globe, how you can actually make your presence globally, what will be your cost avoidance and cost advantages. So you need not to invest a lot of money in your operational activities. You don't have to pay for your unused capacities, and you can have an opportunity to decommission all your assets which you no longer requires in near future. So you can mitigate your risk in a better way. So you can have a better system for your operational resilience, your disaster recovery, your business continuity plan. So you need to keep all these things in mind before you create a strong business case that will support your cloud migration journey. So having established a clear and compelling business cases, and then when it comes to people, you need to have a strong business and technical team and that will support your initiative. And then these members of these teams will be responsible for your successful cloud migration. So you need to create a small cloud center of excellence initially that can evolve as your cloud system gets matured. So, in and all, we can actually divide this cloud center of excellence between two groups. One is cloud business offices, and another one is the cloud engineering. So, cloud business office owns functions such as organizational change management, stakeholder requirements, governance, and cost optimization. So it develops user requirements and onboards new applications and users onto the cloud. It also handles vendor management, internal marketing, communications, and status updates to the users. So, in a summary, this Cloud Business Office consists of people from all your different functional unit of your business that will take care of your enterprise architecture, your governance, your training and readiness, your financial needs, and your entire organizational change management. When it comes to cloud engineering, you will have a people from the technological background. So the cloud engineering group owns functions such as infrastructure automation, operational tools and processes, security tooling and controls, and migration landing zones. They optimize the speed at which a business unit can access cloud resources and optimize use patterns. The cloud engineering group focuses on performance, availability, and security. So their main job is to maintain different processes, create new processes, maintain the policies in terms of infrastructures, operations, and security and compliances. So once you have created a team which will be responsible for your cloud migration, then you need to identify a migration strategy from a technology standpoint. So here you need to discover what all components you need to migrate, what would be your technical approach to migrate those components, and what will be the right place to migrate those components. So right now, we can actually choose from private, public, and hybrid approaches where you want to migrate your application workload depending on your need and the nature of your applications. So you need to prioritize the application infrastructure to be migrated. So here we are going to discuss that how you need to do a gap analysis and how you need to understand the inventory of your application workloads, right? So you need to evaluate the current state of your inventories and get a 360-degree overview of infrastructures, applications, and their dependencies. So you need to create an inventory list in terms of your application, your infrastructure, all your software licenses, all your in-flight projects, where you see that these projects can be beneficial if you start those projects after your cloud migration. So you can actually make that decision upfront. You need to assess your skill matrix, what all skills you are having readily available within your organizations, what all the skills you need to hire. And then you need to prioritize the application suites based on their complexities, based on their impact on the business, based on their transaction dependencies, and based on that, how best you can get the advantages of the elasticity of your applications. So in terms of physical inventory, you need to actually understand your inventory like a physical and virtual server, how many operating systems you would require, what is the CPU, RAM, and disk capacities. In terms of software, you need to create an inventory of all your software assets, including end-of-life databases and websites. You need to create an inventory of all your network devices, switches, load balancers, and your storage devices. When it comes to dependency data, you need to understand that what is your software dependencies among your different application components. Are you using any containers or microservices based architecture applications? What is the relation between your application databases? What is your server to storage relationships? How you manage the data flow? Is there any hybrid application deployments? What is your hardware and software load balancing requirements? How will be your disaster recovery setups? So in this discovery phase, you identify actually what your current state is and how you want to migrate this to the cloud. So once you analyze your application workload, your dependencies, then it comes to choosing a right technical approach for migrating your application workload to the cloud. And there are 6 most common application migration strategies, and these are called as a 6R strategies. So which is rehost, replatform, refactor, repurchase, retire, and retain. So we'll be discussing a brief about all these migration approach, and depending on your application nature and application need, you can actually choose any one of them, or you can choose a combination of them. So when it comes to rehost, there you want to move your application without changes. In large scale legacy migrations, organizations are looking to move quickly to meet your business objectives. The majority of these applications are rehosted. Applications are easier to optimize, re-architect once they are already running in the cloud, because your hard part, migrating the application data and traffic, that has already been taken care. Right, so you can migrate all your applications, which doesn't require any cloud optimization as is. So it is called a lift and shift, approach, where you migrate you just rehost your applications to the cloud. When it comes to replatform, there you need to make a few cloud optimizations to achieve a tangible benefits. You will not change the core architecture of the applications. For example, reducing the amount of time you spend managing a database instances, and your database maintenance activities by migrating to a database as a service platform like Amazon Relational Database Services (RDS), or migrating your application to a fully managed platform like AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So this is also called as a lift, tinker, and shift, where you apply a few cloud optimization, and you can get maximum benefits while migrating this application to the cloud. When it comes to re-architecting, this approach actually involves a lot of investment in terms of cost and effort, where you need to actually re-architect an entire application. So reimagine how the application is architected and developed using the cloud native features. So this is driven by a strong business need to add features, scale, or boosting the performance that would otherwise be difficult to achieve in the application's existing environment. So if you are looking to migrate from a monolithic architecture to a service-oriented architecture to boost agility or improve business continuity, this strategy tends to be the most expensive, but it can also be the most beneficial if you have a good product market fit. When it comes to repurchase, you can move from your perpetual licenses to a software as a service model. For example, you can move from a customer relationship management (CRM) to a Salesforce, an HR system to a new SaaS-based HRIS system, or a content management system to a SaaS-based content management system. So for give you a recent example, in our organization, we also moved our old HRIS system, which we were running on premise from so many years, to a SaaS-based product, and that will give our organizations a benefit to have our systems up to date. If there are any changes or updates into the new system, we'll get the benefits out of those instantly. And then when it comes to retire, you can actually identify certain applications that you want to remove, which are no longer needed. So once you have a completed discovery for environment, you need to ask who owns each application. So you need to identify certain application that you need to retire, and then there will be few legacy applications that you want to retain. Because of some technical challenges, those applications are built on a platform which doesn't, which are not provided or supported by cloud. So choosing the right strategy is a key while you migrate your entire workload to the cloud. Then, according to your need, you can choose, appropriate cloud, public cloud, a private cloud, or a hybrid cloud. So public cloud give you a better, scalability options. It will lower your cost, but at the same time, it doesn't have a control over the infrastructure. In a private cloud, you can choose applications which are data and security sensitive applications. So you'll have a better control over the infrastructure. You will have a high level of security. And if you want to reap the benefits of both the clouds, you can go for a hybrid approach for your cloud migration strategy. Once you identify that where you want to migrate your workload, then you need to do a planning. So you need to consider a phased approach. So you need to identify the connections between services and interdependencies. Then you can use a monitoring application like New Relic Appium that offers a service maps to generate the dependency diagram. So once you have a dependency diagram, you can actually prioritize your component that needs to be migrated and in a specific order, in what orders you want to migrate your application component. So idea is to start by migrating the services that have fewer dependencies, then start with the customer facing app services, and then move to legacy services. So once you are done with the planning, you actually execute your migration. So we have categorized these migration execution in the 6 phase. In the discover phase, application analysis and planning backlogs are used to understand current and future architectures. Business and technical informations are gathered. Data is analyzed and a migration plan is confirmed with the technical team. In the design phase, our target state is developed and documented. Cloud architecture, application architecture, and supporting operational components are identified. Tech team uses the collected information to create a design for migration. In the build phase, your migration design is executed. So you need to identify the required people, tools, and reusable templates to execute your design. So team will use the methods and tools to migrate the application in this stage. And if you have any third-party integration dependencies, then your team needs to work with the external service provider to make external connections or integrations. In the validation state, each migrated application goes through a series of specific tests in terms of your business continuity plan, your disaster recovery plan, your functional testing, your performance testing, your security testing, and your build verifications. And at the end, once your application passes all those validations, you can actually roll out those applications to the entire world and move them to the production. So right, once we are done with the migration, let's talk briefly about the governance aspect that shall be taken into the cloud journey. Processes and policies should be in place because that will help your organization in the decision-making processes. So you need to create policies and processes in terms of future and current planning, future architectures, acquisition of new IT infrastructures, deployment of new features and existing workload, operational process and policies, all your management activities. So it is nothing but a model formulation to cover security, financial, performance, collaboration, and communication governance. So at the end, I would like to summarize what I have talked today's session. So I have introduced you with both preparation and execution steps that are required for an effective cloud transformation. So by analyzing your current state, building a plan, and iterating the work, you can actually divide a large migration into manageable activities for an efficient execution. So you need to carefully, think and plan ahead before you get into a transition process itself. And you should have a valid rollback plan in case of the cloud application is not behaving as expected. Right. So at the end, I would say that cloud computing environment offer benefits, but only if the key applications are re-architected to take advantages of the cloud features while migrating the impact of cloud limitations. You need to build a solid business case and refine the return on investment as the transformation progress. So cloud environments also have a different failure scenarios and might have increased network latencies, but they allow for a rapid scaling and choice of data centers across the globe. So with that, I conclude my session, and I hope you understand that what it takes to start your cloud migration journey and how you actually migrate your entire IT infrastructure and workload towards the cloud. With that, I'll hand it over to Puneet for a question and questions you might have. And if you have posted any of your questions, we can actually take it up. So Puneet, over to you.
Thank you, Ashu, for giving all of us a good insight into what needs to be done for cloud migration. I'm sure everyone who has attended today's session now has better understanding on what needs to be done for cloud migration. For me, the key takeaway for having a successful cloud migration is the creation of right migration strategy, implementation, and governance. We have received many questions from participants, but looking at the clock, we will be able to take only 4 or 5 questions today. And for the rest of the questions, we will reach out to you offline. So Ashu, first question is from Mike. He wants to know your recommendation for structure and type of people in Cloud Center of Excellence.
Thanks, Mike, for this question. It is a very important question because you need to have a right mix of the people in your Cloud Center of Excellence. Because the Cloud Center of Excellence will be responsible for researching, planning, and managing the entire cloud adoption. So it should be structured with the people having strong IT backgrounds and having some cloud experience that will be great. So it brings a broad perspective and balanced set of knowledge and skills to the table. So it should have a right balance of senior management from the businesses, finance, and IT operational departments, along with a mix of people from the technology departments, such as your senior architects, your developers, your system administrators, your network administrators. So you should have a right balance of your business people as well as your technical people to achieve the maximum benefits. I hope that answers my. Over to you, Puneet.
Yeah, thanks, Ashu. So the next question is from Rahul. So they are working on cloud migration and need some help. So can PSI provide help?
Hi Rahul, thank you for the question. Of course, we do have experts who can provide you consultancy around the problem areas you are currently having. So we can offer our services in whatever stage you are in with your cloud solution. So starting from the gap analysis, building cloud solutions while suggesting the best practices. So our team will get in touch with you and we'll see that how best we can actually help you in terms of your cloud adoption. Thanks, Puneet.
Thanks, Ashu. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So the next question is from Chandan. His question is, which cloud is better, AWS, Azure, or Google?
Hello, Chandan. Thanks for asking this question. And in fact, this is a very interesting question because I don't have a direct answer to it. In fact, there is no direct answer to it because each cloud has its own advantages. So it will entirely depend on the needs and the type of each customer and the workloads they are running. So every cloud vendor has its own advantages. So if you are running a workload which requires a faster development and deployment, and you are working across the different domains, and if you are doing a startup, then I would suggest AWS Cloud because they have 175 services across the different domains, and you can actually do and use these out-of-the-box services, and you can develop your solutions in a fast pace. On the other side, Microsoft Azure tends to be a popular choice with the C-level executives that have long-lasting relationship with the vendor. And if you are running your workload with a Microsoft family, I would suggest you should go for a Microsoft Azure. Wherein this Google Cloud Platform is competing with these two clouds, AWS and Microsoft, and it is best suitable if you are working with the open source technologies and if your application workload requires a good artificial intelligence capabilities, machine learning capabilities, and along with your translate, search, and security capabilities, then Google will be a best fit. So I mean, each cloud providers have its own advantages and limitations. It will really depend on your workload and kind of work you are doing. Hope that answers. Puneet, over to you for the next question.
Yeah, Ashu. Thank you. So the next question is from Tom. So they have 30 applications, and so they are asking. So he's asking whether they want to migrate these applications on cloud, and he's asking about the budget. So what is your take on that in this session?
All right. Thanks, Tom, for taking up this question. Generally, the budget will depend on your application suite that you want to migrate. It can differ case-to-case basis, and the nature of your application. So if you want, if you are running an application which requires a major reformation in terms of architecture, then your budget will be different and your IT infrastructure load will be different, right? So there are a few tools available where you can get a tentative idea of your cost. For example, AWS provides a AWS pricing calculator that will give you a total cost of ownership where you can actually put in your needs in terms of your IT infrastructure and capacity and what kind of workload you would require. You will get a fair idea about your budget. So really it will depend on the application workload and the nature of applications you are running and what all application you want to migrate towards the cloud and on which cloud you want to migrate. So this will depend. So if we can reach out to you offline and I can understand it more, in a more specific way, and then we probably can help you to analyze your cost. Over to you, Puneet. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Ashu. So the next question is from Richard. His question is how cloud will increase developer productivity. So he's from a software-based company, and his question is regarding that if they want to outsource work, then will it also help in the developer productivity? Will it help them reduce the amount, the cost?
Right. So thanks, Tom, for taking up these questions. So in the real life scenarios, there are so many automation tools available, and by automating processes such as building and managing the code, utilizing various automation tools for continuous integration, continuous deployment, using infrastructure as a service, you can quickly spin up new dev environments. DevOps teams can work closely with your application development teams, and you can build solutions for continuous integration deployment. You can spin up and deploy and test your newly developed features. So it will definitely increase your developer productivity by leveraging all these tools which cloud providers provide out of the box, and you can actually utilize them for your product development, having your new ideas developed pretty quickly, rapidly scaling up your applications and taking them to the market pretty quickly. So overall, that will increase developer productivities. Right. So I hope that answers your question, Tom. So there are so many tools available with the cloud through which you can actually not only increase your developer productivity, but at the same time you can increase your entire workforce productivity.
So in the end, I would like to thank Ashu for sharing his thoughts, and I also want to thank all of you for joining us today. Soon we will be sharing a link to the recording of today's webinar along with a survey link asking for feedback on this event. Your insights will help us shape future events such as this. On behalf of PSI, thank you all for joining us today. Have a good time.